All right, guys, welcome back to the WCG Grand Finals 2012. I am Doa. With me is Brendan once again. And I was going to take a little bit of a break, but
I did not let Doa take a break.
No, you didn't. It's
Scumbag
okay.
Brendan.
It's okay,
needed
man.
a co-caster for World of Tanks, which is the game we're getting into right now.
That's right. We were supposed to have Clutch back here, but he is busy with Counter-Strike on a different stage. So I thought, hey, I've casted Dota 2 today. I've casted not World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3. Why not add World of Tanks onto that as well? So here we are, guys. Korea versus America. We've got Fulcrum Gaming taking on, and I just saw the Korean team's name, and
Roka.
I forgot about Roka. That's what it was.
Yeah.
There's Fulcrum Gaming from America, though.
Yeah, I've seen Fulcrum Gaming from somewhere. I don't know where, though. Do you have any idea?
World of Tanks, I don't believe, is their first game. I feel like I have seen that name attributed to other esports in the West, too. But I apologize. I don't know what other games they're familiar with.
I think it would be an FPS. I'm just not sure which. I definitely have seen it before, though.
Well, it'd definitely be an FPS. I mean, there's not really any other esports titles out there that aren't StarCraft and some sort of Dota or MOBA that aren't FPS. You know, World of Tanks is kind of in its own little world, so to speak. It's a very different game. It's actually really popular in Russia. You know, it's a Russian-owned game, but it's amazing just how this game has taken Russia and Europe and like that part of the world, and to a certain extent, part of the U.S. as well, by storm, man. I mean, it's wildly popular for being a rather slow-paced, unforgiving game, too. But people love the teamwork. They love the coordination. It's 7-player teams going against each other. That's really crazy.
Yeah, like you were saying, it is very different. It's like you don't really see 7-player teams.
It's
kind of
unlike
weird.
anything else in esports right now. It's very interesting.
Very unique, and maybe that's what draws some people to, you know, something they've never seen before. I think a lot of people like tanks, too. It's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, man, nothing is more fun than driving through a wall and blowing someone up. I don't know. It sounds cool, you know. Look at that. They have printouts on the maps. I think that's one of the refs. They're probably getting to veto maps. In most tournaments, they have like a map veto system where both teams veto one, and then they pick from the remaining or something like that. Or in this one, they may pick down till there's one map left. I'm not quite sure. But either way, it's good to try to play a map that you're confident with, that you're familiar with.
Definitely.
And now you were explaining to me a little bit about how the ebb and flow of a World of Tanks match goes. Do you want to try to reiterate that for the viewers here?
Sure. I mean, I'm not the biggest World of Tanks expert, but I heard a little some tips from another of the casters here who does know some about World of Tanks. He said that there are 4 different tanks. You got the light tanks, the heavy tanks, the medium tanks, and the artillery tanks. And you got the light guys. They just go around really fast, obviously, by their name. They try to get into the back lines. They try to take out the artillery tanks, actually, which are all the way in the back, and they do the really long-range shots. And really what the game is about is, like you were saying, slow pace. You try to take cover behind stuff, and then if you're moving and you try to shoot, you just miss entirely almost all the time, unless you get really lucky. So you have to like stop, zoom in, and try to hit a critical point on the other tank, somewhere on the gun, somewhere on the treads, somewhere to take out the other tank in 1 or 2 hits. And it's really interesting. I actually have not seen this game been played, and I really want to see it be played because it sounds really cool.
Well, I'll be completely honest here. The last match that was played was the first game of World of Tanks I've ever seen, and it was really cool. I actually really want to try it. It's tough for me to like find time to work new games into my schedule as far as, you know, whether I'm learning them or playing for fun, but I might give this one a try. It's definitely a possibility. So we are going to move into the lobby very soon. We're going to see what tanks these guys pick, and then after that we're going to the map for game number 1. This is one of the few group stage tournaments we have here that is a best of 3, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is a best of 3, and I think we're still in group stages. I think every tournament here has a group stage, but there's so many, it's hard to keep track of them all. But basically, we're waiting to get into that lobby. So there is Team America.
The guy in the end actually looks a little bit older than most players we got here.
He does.
Not to say anything bad about him. I mean, that's pretty cool. You got
How dare you be old.
an older guy playing one of these esports games. That's really cool, actually.
Well, it's another game that's a little bit slower paced. It's much more about thinking and positioning. You don't need to quite have the super fast reflexes, the super fast fingers that some of these younger players have in Dota, in StarCraft, in Warcraft 3. You can be a little bit slower with your hands and still be a very, very good player in World of Tanks. So
that's interesting. If like it breeds, since it's a game like that, it breeds an older, more mature crowd. That would actually be pretty cool for the community.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. I mean, I for one, there's always been this thing where it's like if you hit over 30, you can't play games like StarCraft, blah blah blah. I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that
at least
all.
Not on the hand speed side of things, because if that were the case, then you wouldn't have, world-class guitar players, classical guitar players, world-class pianists that are able to still play like that into their 80s, man.
Yeah, they're like 80-year-old pianists who are ridiculous, like the best in the world.
You can make an argument for muscle memory in that case, but honestly, I feel like people just put too much of a credit into age and don't take enough considerations into the other real-life things that are happening to you when you hit your 30s, and things like that. There's usually a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot more going on
in your early to mid-20s. Yeah. There's the possibility of the family. There's the possibility of trying to have like a career outside of esports. All of that is going to take away from practice time. All of that is going to make it very, very hard to keep up.
The thing about pro gaming, like anything else that's really professional, like other professional sports, is that you have to dedicate so much time to it. You have to practice 10 hours a day to be really competitive with all the other guys. So, like you were saying, when you hit your 30s, maybe you have a wife, you have a lot more responsibilities. If you have a kid, you just don't have that much time to play the game that much, or you have to focus your attention to other places. And I really agree with that. I don't think aging to 30 is some kind of magical age where you can't play games anymore.
Exactly, but either way, we're not going to be affected by that in World of Tanks. I'm excited, man. This is it's our home country representing here.
Yeah, actually
it's like our home country versus our new home country almost.
That is true, actually. Both of us live in Korea now. So.
The land I was born versus the land I'm living in now.
Yeah.
I have a lot of love for both of these nations.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Let's have a good, clean fight, and no hitting below the turret. Although that's really important to hit below the turret.
Yeah.
You should aim for the treads. It's actually a great place to aim if you're shooting at a tank.
Yes.
And,
one of our other casters here actually was talking to some of the U.S. players on this team. And she said, since this is such a Russian-dominated game, like it was made in Russia, it was bought by a Russian CEO, and all the people in Russia, they love this game. It's really popular there. She was saying how they are so scared of the Russian team. They did not mention the Korean team, so maybe the USA team can come in here and pull something off against this Korean team. Koreans are known for being really awesome at esports.
Well,
but
the fact is that if there's a video game out there and if there's a professional scene for it, Korea will have professional players of that game. That's just how it is. Korea is a culture. It's a nation that loves video games. A lot of the animosity, a lot of the stigma that goes with playing video games in other parts of the world doesn't exist as much as it does elsewhere in Korea. So, if there's going to be pro players for games, it's probably going to be in Korea, even if it's not quite as popular. We already saw a Korean Dota 2 team. Even though Dota 2 isn't really widely played in Korea yet, we're seeing a World of Tanks team, even though, again, World of Tanks not widely played in Korea as much as a lot of the other games. Right now, the PC bongs in Korea, MMOs are really big, League of Legends is really big, and Brood War is still played quite a bit, and a little bit of StarCraft too. Like, when I go in there, those are the games I see. Don't see World of Tanks, don't see Dota 2, but there obviously are a lot of people playing it elsewhere, though, so here we have a team from that group.
From Korea.
Pretty cool. So, we're still waiting to get into that lobby. Teams just kind of strategizing right now, sharing with each other what the map will be. We saw what I'm guessing are going to be the captains for each team up front on stage talking with the head referee. I'm guessing there was probably sort of a pick-down order where they basically just each banned a map until there was one left. They went with that.
Doesn't look like there's any technical difficulties, more like strategizing or something. Like they're all getting together. You see the Korean team right there, just all getting together in a group, huddling, discussing something, maybe the strategy for the map, which would be pretty cool, actually. It's like you decide down to the map, and then you get together and you have to make a really complicated strategy. I mean, I'm not sure about how strategic exactly World of Tanks is, but from what I've heard,
that's exactly what they're doing. They're saying, all right, you play this style of tank, you play light, for instance, you go to this part of the map. We saw other matches earlier today where we had a team send 4 tanks through the main part of the city, while another 2 went up to the high ground to try to provide covering fire from up there.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see the strategy. So yeah, with such a slow-paced, methodical game like World of Tanks, you really do need to put a lot of effort into the preparation, you know?
Yeah.
It's not one of those fast reaction time games. It's a game of preparation.
It's more like real war.
Get at it.
You know? It's tanks, man. It's like actual tank battles.
It's a fairly realistic portrayal of how tanks work.
Yeah.
I just took my first drink of Chinese Red Bull, and it is not carbonated.
Nope. Actually, I was so happy when the guy came over and brought us this Red Bull, because I was casting with Dana, World Elite Masters in China actually last month, and they gave us so much of this Red Bull, and I love it. It's so addicting. I don't know if you can tell, but like once you have one, you're gonna want another one and another
Red Bull,
one.
I believe, is one of the sponsors. So
yeah, actually we heard a story about this Red Bull, how it was like originally made in somewhere else, or it might have been China. And this is like the original Red Bull.
Really?
Or I think it was Taiwan or something. And then someone from Europe, some rich guy, came to Taiwan and was like, hey, this is amazing. Can I buy the rights to this name? And he bought it, and he kind of switched it from the vitamin drink that it is here in China and made it into an energy drink with all like the taurine,
so this is actually a very different drink than Red Bull.
It's not an energy drink. It's like a vitamin drink.
That's actually fascinating, man. All right. Well, now I'm really psyched to drink this. It does taste better, honestly.
Yeah. It's
all right. The Red Bull's better in China. Now you know. I don't know if it quite mixes with alcohol quite as well.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's good. It's good to drink out of a can. And we'll see. I mean, at least it doesn't have a lot of that high fructose corn syrup in it.
Probably not.
A substance that's actually illegal in many countries.
Oh, is it illegal here?
Yeah, I don't know if it's illegal here. I doubt it's illegal here, but it's illegal in the UK, I think, and some of the other European countries, because it's terrible for you, but it's still pretty popular in the US right now, unfortunately.
For now.
People are starting to wise up about that.
Yeah. I know in Ireland, my sister goes there every once in a while, and she brings back, like, real soda with real sugar, and it's, like, so delicious.
Yeah, man, that's so good. Really good. But you know what? One of the best things about that is it'll help you play the games better. If it's healthy for you, if your mind is healthy, you'll be able to make those decisions to come in and win the game. So, again, guys, we're going to get started very, very soon, ideally. Hopefully going to move into the lobby pretty soon. See our World of Tanks match between Roka Gaming and Fulcrum Gaming. Roka?
If you look at this U.S. team, they kind of look like they're ex-Marines or ex-Army guys. I don't know.
You think so?
Yeah, some of them do.
Maybe just military-minded as well. I mean, perhaps like being a tank pilot in real life would prepare you for a World of Tanks. I don't know, man.
A guy who used to like pilot a tank is now playing World of Tanks.
OP. It's OP, dude.
He'd probably be pretty good.
You would think so.
Yeah. Well,
see some of our lovely sponsors here.
Yeah. I
believe Wargaming.net is the company now that distributes World of Tanks. If I remember right. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's the case.
It sounds
Look at that
familiar.
Watch. That looks like a nice watch, man. He's got a wedding ring on his finger, too, see?
Wow.
He doesn't have as much World of Tanks practice time as he used to.
No.
Yep.
It's like playing World of Tanks with his baby in his lap. Baby falls over. It's like, I got to finish this game.
It's okay, because there's a lot of waiting in World of Tanks, so he can change a diaper really quick, while he's waiting for someone to come into view, and he's like, all right, I got the shot.
Puts his tank on auto run, is like changing a diaper in his lap.
Yep.
That works.
And you can see as well our tier at Neo TV, broadcasting it for the Chinese audience, and bringing it to us.
Yes, they are. I haven't actually, I was overcasting Crossfire while World of Tanks, the first round was going on, so I didn't get to see any of it. But I was told that there was a max of, like, 45 is the number that the max, like, the tiers can add up to. Because the highest tier is 8 or something. And if every player picks 8, it would add up to 56, but you have to get it below 45 or something.
Interesting. So each tank is worth sort of a certain amount of points.
Yeah, like a tier, like tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's interesting. I actually didn't know that. I'm very, very new to this game too, so that's actually fascinating. That almost reminds me of, like, did you ever play Hero Clicks back in the day?
Hero Clicks, no.
Hero Clicks. So there are a couple of the games where it's like a board game, but you get different little plastic figurines, and each one is worth a different point value, and you basically pick your game. You say, all right, we're going to play a 500-point game. And so
I heard
each guy is worth 5 points up to like a couple hundred points and stuff. So it ends up being very balanced. You can either put a lot of your points into one tank, which for this too, you could put a lot of your points into very, very high tier tanks for a couple members, and then go for a little bit lower quality tanks for the others, and maybe just try to run distractions, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. If you get 5 players, because it's 7-member teams, 5 players to get tier 8. It would be 40 points, but then you got to have 2 people with like tier 4 or tier 3 and tier 2.
Yeah.
So it's like you really got to balance that out here. It's interesting.
So you could do something like that. That's actually fascinating. The more I learn about this game, the more I may just have to make time to do it because it's so different from anything else I really do right now, and it's cool. I'm not even talking about casting it too. I'm just talking about learning it and just playing it. Yeah, because it's so rare. It's like one of the things about being a caster that a lot of people don't hear about is that when you are casting multiple games, and not many people do yet, is you spend so much time preparing for those casts and getting to know those games that you really aren't left with a lot of time at the end of the day to play what you want to play. And
especially with all the really in-depth information, you can't learn so many games to cast.
And it's true. I love StarCraft 2, and I have a lot of fun with League of Legends as well. But you don't get a lot of time to play for fun, With League of Legends especially, it's much less playing and much more observing. Yeah. StarCraft 2, you get to play quite a bit more to prepare for that, but League of Legends, it's a lot, so you don't get to play it a lot, even though you are spending a lot of time during the day with that game. Yeah. So you have to be very choosy. Basically, my day-to-day, we're suddenly doing this now, I guess we're talking about this while we're waiting the game to start.
Our day-to-day lives.
Never mind. Just watch this. What?
WCG 世界总决赛服火爆开启，12月1日13点登录 LD.NewTV.cn， 先到50级 WCG 世界总决赛选手战袍双手奉上，冲破60级 WCG 专属座椅限量送出，奖品丰富，静待归属，一切尽在 L.NewTV.cn。
All right, guys, we're back. World of Tanks time. Roka versus Fulcrum Gaming. Korea versus the United States. It's going to be a great match. We are actually in the game already. We skipped the lobby, apparently, so here we go. Let's see. So it looks like a pretty decent variety of tanks on both sides. And I believe down at the very bottom, the really tiny one.
Oh,
those are the mobile guys, man.
Apparently tier 8 isn't the highest. I guess it's tier 9? Or am I not reading that right? No, it's tier 8. But I guess 45 isn't the highest because...
Where do you see that?
Up there, the 8,
I see.
8, and then 7, and then 1 on 1. So that's 25.
Little tier 1.
31. So it adds up to 33.
So you've got Checkmon spotting across the lake there. He's going to try to get some early information on the positioning of the opponents, I would imagine. We kind of are getting the mini-map cut off right now, so we can't really talk a whole lot about the positioning here. But
yeah, we got a lot of sponsors, apparently.
Friction coming through. He is in a Mark 8 tank, it looks like. Oh, wait, never mind. He's in a... that is 8. Yeah. All right.
And this is 7. I'm not sure how to distinguish between the heavy and the light tanks, I guess, by health. Looks like those two guys up in the distance. 1400 might be,
Oh, no, that's 4-3.
Might be heavy. And that one that just went by maybe medium. Yeah. And this guy is probably light at 540. Yeah. Not exactly sure, but he's just kind of hiding behind the tree. This guy has such little health. He's just like a scout. He's like a ward.
Yeah, you can... And you can see on the mini-map, too, the smaller tanks just trying to get some vision over the town. And they know that the opponents are going to be starting there. So I'm trying to see exactly. It looks like
we got a tier 5, probably light tank.
These overlays, man, blocking the mini-map.
We can't see like where the other tanks are.
I know. You got Team USA coming into the edge of the town right now. And he's going to fire. He's going to try to go after one of the Korean tanks, doing a little bit of damage there. Oh, and actually, Guigui's dead, I believe. I think that was it.
Yeah, someone went
for
down.
Him, yeah. One hit. That was a 610 tank, or 610 hit point tank, so can't take a whole lot of shots with that.
Yeah, he just got sniped
and
immediately.
Friction,
there's this heavy tier 8 tank taking so much damage, only has 84 health. Friction trying to peek around and try to get a hit, but gets taken out at the same time.
Yeah, he actually does damage to the tank behind him as well. Hugo Maximus trying to do some damage. It's just like a big melee in the middle of the town right now, actually.
Melee tanks.
Yeah. Hugo Maximus, I'm believing, and Soviet. Yeah, they are able to take out that Korean tank. Two left where it's going to be 4 members of Fulcrum Gaming left over.
The U.S., I think, with better positioning here, it looks like they were able to take out the Korean tank, and this guy's trying to flank around this one.
Well, they kind of caught the Roka team like in the middle of that street. They were able to attack from behind the buildings, and it looks like
Soviet flanking that guy, but we just got a switch on the map.
Relics hiding behind that windmill, man.
That shot just barely missed Relics.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Trying to snipe him up on the tower.
Be so careful. Both these guys like one hit from death.
You can see this positioning, just trying to skirt around this tower.
Oh,
the Roka tank with 55 health does get taken out. There's only one left.
Very nice.
But it looks like the U.S. are trying to take out the Roka base, so it should be the first game going to the U.S. team, unless this one tank from Korea can pull off something. But this light tank just behind.
Oh, he's got to try to do it. He's got to play the dance of death. Oh, man. Light versus heavy. Always going to get stuck behind the wall. He has to be so careful.
Oh, man. This is hilarious.
Oh, run for it. Oh, man.
This little tank is just trying to get out of the range.
Oh, he just gets owned.
Just gets, like, smacked in the head right there.
One shot. Yeah, it couldn't last forever, man.
And this little tier 1 light tank just chilling.
Yeah, and we're actually, tier 1 tank and a tier 7 tank going up against the tier 7 that Korea has left. Relics has been playing really well this match already.
Yeah.
Getting great positioning, but they're going up against the beast of the tank. And the overlay is right over the player's name, so I can't tell you what it is right now. Relics in the Lorraine.
It takes a really long time to take out enemy bases.
Oh, he actually
just misses. Yeah, he hit the ground in front.
Yeah, he did. And he's going to try to get around there. Oh, nice shot from Relics, and that will end the match.
How?
I believe, yeah.
How did
I thought Relics must hit him because Check Monster.
Yeah,
I don't know how he did that much damage with the tiny tank, but all right.
He was like on the other side. But apparently,
at any rate,
able to take out the Korean tanks. So the first round go to the U.S. team.
Yeah, fairly convincingly early on. They had a lot of attrition loss in that first fight in the town, but they were able to clean it up in the end.
That was really cool, actually. The tanks like going melee right in the middle of that town with all the huge buildings, like peeking around the corner with your giant.
Like I said, I'm new to World of Tanks, but that does not seem like a very common occurrence. To all clump up in a town like that.
Yeah,
it's like you're just trying to beat the other person to death with your tank turret. You just like bring it up and down on their tank over and over again.
Yeah,
that doesn't work. All right, so Fulcrum Gaming, as you can see, pretty excited from their first win.
Yeah.
And there's going to be another game. This is a best of 3, so we're going to get into game 2 fairly soon.
Do you know if they switch maps, or is it same map?
I believe it's different maps. I was watching a match earlier. I've watched a couple matches today, and it seems like they do switch maps, but we will see.
So the U.S. team, after their first victory, just discussing again maybe what they could have done better, or what they need to consider for the next match.
Yeah, I mean, when it came down to it, just the fact that they were behind the buildings while the Korean team was stuck in the middle of the street, essentially.
It was kind of like they
really didn't work out.
They were the ones with the protections, and then the Korean team just came like barging into the town.
Yeah,
and the U.S. had like a really nice little cone kind of formation.
We didn't get to see a lot of the early game setup for the Korean team, but I feel like they just had a lot of trouble finding out where the U.S. tanks were, and just decided to go for it.
Yeah.
They just decided to come down the street, see what they could find. Unfortunately, they found relics of company and a bunch of American tanks waiting to take them apart.
It was like they were hiding behind the buildings too, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure if they in the game can see the the names of the other players as they're coming in, or
I'm not sure.
Because
I've heard that
really
when
easy.
a tank fires, it makes a little ping on your map.
Okay.
Maybe someone
that
can,
would make sense.
Maybe someone can tweet at us and correct us. You can tweet at me. I'm at GGDoa on Twitter.
Yep.
So definitely tweet at me if you have anything to add to the cast. We're all pulling a little bit of crazy duty here at WCG this weekend. We're trying to make the most of the casters that we have for the English stream. So we're all kind of getting out of our comfort zone a little bit.
Unfortunately, no professional World of Tanks caster here with us today.
Yeah, except for Clutch, man. He's awesome.
Yeah,
I would call him
I guess he would be the best.
World of Tanks commentator. He's quite good.
He has played a lot of World of Tanks, actually.
Yeah, and you can tell. He's got great commentary. And after this, guys, Wolf and I are going to be casting another round of Warcraft 3, so
definitely stay tuned for that.
And we saw a really cool Orc versus Human match. We saw Sky playing Orc against Hawk playing Human. Hawk essentially all into him and didn't work. So another win for China. In the RTS category, China's been doing really well. Max said the Chinese StarCraft 2 player has been doing awesome. Fly going to do awesome as well, I'm sure, in Warcraft 3.
Even in the other games, like in Crossfire, IG picking up both games pretty convincingly. So Chinese teams on their home turf doing pretty well.
Max said, too, on the Warcraft 3 side of things, Chinese player, really, really good. Tried his hand at StarCraft 2, didn't quite work out. And so he's back to Warcraft 3 for this tournament. Big news, actually, for Warcraft fans for Remind. Remind is actually retiring after this. This is his last tournament, he told us this morning. So this is it. He needs to win this. This is the end of the road for Remind in esports. We asked him if he was going to go to a different game. He said, no, I'm actually retiring from esports. So it's a big deal for the left-hander. He's actually from Korea. Never mind, not from China, but big Warcraft 3 news in general.
Do you know how long he's been around?
Very long time.
Very long time.
I like I said, I'm not like the biggest Warcraft 3 guy, definitely, but he's a notable name, very notable name in the community. He's been around. He will be missed. So, game number 2 between Fulcrum Gaming and Roka coming up. Korea versus the U.S.
I'm really impressed, I have to say. It seems like more of the game takes place before the game actually starts.
Absolutely,
it's like they're planning what tanks are going to be picked, what maps, I guess, what kind of strategy they're going to go for before the game even starts, and then the game starts and it ends in maybe 5 minutes, and it's pretty cool. I've
seen longer games today where there's just a lot of positioning, a lot of waiting. Yeah. Essentially, when you're driving a big tank that has to stop to fire, camping is encouraged.
Yeah.
So you should be very, very careful. But yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of the preparation does happen, a lot of the preparation is the essential part of the match. Controlling the tanks is not necessarily secondary, but it's really, really important. Yeah.
It's funny, a lot of these other strategy games, you can call them, are actually very active. Like, you're doing a lot of stuff during the game, like any RTS game or real-time strategy game, whereas this game is kind of like you're actually planning a strategy to use. I don't know how to describe it, because obviously in other strategy games you're planning a strategy, but in this one it's more like
planning an attack plan. It's like real war, man. Yeah. And Frog Socks on Twitter says that the game actually goes up to tier 10, but in competitive play he's never seen someone go above tier 8. So whether that's a restriction imposed by the tournaments or if that's something that is just decided upon as the best way to play the game by the pro players.
Yeah, I was reading the rules actually when I got them, and I said the highest one you can pick is tier 8. So.
And on the map you can differentiate the different types of tanks. Square is artillery, solid diamond is light, and split diamond is medium.
Yeah, split diamond is that one with the...
Yes.
Yeah.
Trifurcate diamond is heavy. Interesting.
Trifurcate? I'm not sure what that means.
That is a fancy word.
Yeah.
And so you do try to capture zones in this game too as well, but yeah. Yep. And you cannot see the tanks unless you get individual range. For all of you who are new to it like we are. Frog Socks, just like the dictionary for World of Tanks here.
This guy's blowing up your Twitter. He's like,
I know,
this is what is up, Dilla.
He's awesome, man. He's
Learn about
tweeting useful tweets at me for like 2 years now, actually. Props to you, Frog Socks. So, you can also see your opponent's tank selection in the loading screen, but you can't see them until you get into visual range. And the visual range actually differs from tank to tank.
Oh, wow.
So that's something to keep in mind as well.
There's like so many different levels of stuff in this game. I like it.
Interesting. And this is actually such a deep game. I had no idea. Like, bushes affect your stealth in terms of when you become individual range. There are stealth coefficients as well.
Stealth coefficients.
Driving into
tanks.
Different stealth things like bushes and stuff will affect the visual range differently for each kind of tank. Very, very cool stuff.
Wow.
I'm definitely going to start playing
It's almost
this game,
like mind-blowing. It's like...
That's awesome.
You think of all the different possibilities of tank tank battle when you think of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Stealth coefficients.
And firing, of course, makes you highly visible. But
yeah.
And tanks can be equipped with artillery, too, according to Luna Saint on Twitter as well. So... yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I mean, this is awesome. It's really cool that we have WCG here. I mean, the production value for the tournament itself it's so good, but I feel like this tournament and a lot of other tournaments have a long way to go in terms of bringing a good broadcast to the global viewership, to the English language scene. So be assured that all of us here are really working hard to try to make that happen. We're still in the infancy of this, despite how long esports has been going on. The global scene has been something that hasn't been quite as big as a focus, so it's gonna change. It's gonna get better, guys. We're gonna have more specialized casters, I would say, in the future here. But
I'm sure
enough of that, guys. Yeah. Game number 2 starting right now between Korea's Roka and the United States Fulcrum Gaming. Take that, lamppost.
These tanks just do not care at all about this town.
He's doing his place to stamp out global warming and electricity and stuff, but he's driving a big carbon fuel-powered tank, so never mind. All right. Monsilver's like, hey, watch out, man. I almost rear-ended you there.
So we have 4 heavy tanks for this Korean team coming around the right side. I'm glad that I can actually tell what kind of tanks they are. Actually, it looks like 5.
Yep.
Yeah, 5 heavy tanks, I believe, and 2 light tanks going up the left side, trying to just spot. Not really being as aggressive, but
interesting.
In the distance, we can see the U.S. team kind of just sitting there behind that rock formation.
Yeah.
And missing a couple of times on Jo Jung-hoon, being really aggressive, getting right up into range. And you see the other U.S. tanks down that road.
3 against 1 heavy tank. Oh, no, 2 heavy tanks there. They're going for it. Fulcrum Gaming coming in. Jo Jung-hoon taking a lot of damage. He's going to duck behind the building and live for a little bit longer, but they want to try to do it. Oh, his teammate tried to block a shot, but it didn't work out.
Flanked from behind. Really nice play there. I like the U.S. setup, but it looks like the Korean team kind of surrounded these 2 U.S. tanks.
They're coming around the corner, though. They need to be careful here. Fulcrum Gaming may have walked into a bit of a trap, and here comes another Korean heavy tank from behind. Soviet. Oh, never mind. The Koreans are green this time, and Americans are. Never mind. Opposite day.
Yeah.
USA getting a little bit trapped, but now it's just a huge melee in the street.
I was going to say the Korean teams came in and they surrounded those 2 tanks, but now getting surrounded from 3 sides by the U.S. team. Yeah. And I'm not sure if they're going to be able to take this one. Already 3 people down for Korea and only 1 for U.S.
It's so tough to try to juke and aim at the same time.
Yeah, like right up in their faces.
There's nothing he can do. It's just a battle of firing into each other, but the barrels are actually coming out the other end, so I don't think that's going to work. I don't know, man. Like, where does the explosive projectile calculate from? That's the question here.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this Korean tank. There are
Sabarix
3 U.S. tanks.
Going down, man.
Yeah.
Korea in huge trouble right now. 5 tanks for the U.S., only 2 left for Korea. Lucky Hit and Gelb 14, the only Korean players left in the match right now.
And they're both light.
They are. They're both Tier 1 light tanks. Good luck, guys.
Man.
Lucky Hit, you're going to need to live up to your name, man.
He needs more than 1 lucky hit.
So Friction and Hugo Maximus going down for Fulcrum Gaming. They're out of the match, but everybody else is still alive. And there we go. Oh, lucky hit. It's going to be so impossible, man. I mean, Gelb 14... He's trying to make something work. He's going to have to be the most amazing light tank player in the history of World of Tanks to pull this one off. Oh, look out. Oh, man. Oh, that just
I'm not sure if he just got shot or if he just got rammed by their tank, but he just
got rolled over. That looked like a Hummer driving over one of those little like electric Barbie girl cars that you get when you're 5 years old, man. Yeah. That did not look good. So Fulcrum Gaming taking a quick 2-0 here, absolutely dominating Roka from Korea. That was a stomp, man.
Yeah, that was a
raffle stomp.
I don't know much about World of Tanks, but I think anyone can watch that series and say, yeah, the U.S. team really looking pretty good.
It doesn't take an expert to see that.
It kind of just seemed like, from what I could tell, like the Korean teams were just being super aggressive. Like we didn't get to see their strategy in the first game, but they probably did something similar. Like we saw both sides do the same thing with 5 Tier 8 tanks and 2 light Tier 1 tanks.
That's actually a really interesting point to bring up, because the Koreans in general in all of these sports are generally much more aggressive. We've seen it a lot in League of Legends. We've seen a lot in StarCraft 2, and I would not be surprised for other games if it holds true as well. So I don't know if that style translates well to World of Tanks, man.
I don't know. The U.S. had a really nice setup in that last game where they had 2 tanks kind of spotting, and then as the Koreans went by to try to attack them, and I'm sure the Koreans were like, hey, our strategy's going to work. We got 5 heavy tanks. We got to take out these 2 tanks really quick. They're probably going to go for our base. And they passed down that road, and then 3 tanks from that road just saw them going by and shot them and got them really weak. And they just came from both sides.
It was pretty rough for Roka. So that is going to do it for this match, guys. Don't go anywhere. Wolf and I are going to be back. This is Brendan and Doa this time, but Doa and Wolf are coming back in a moment for another round of Warcraft 3, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
I'd like to thank you, Doa, for coming out and casting this with me.
Oh, no problem, dude.
Before, I would have had to have been alone.
This is such a fun game, man.
I don't know.
I might get more into this. Cool. It's so cool. But, all right, so that's going to about do us. I needed to give my voice a little bit break before the next match, but thanks for casting. Don't go anywhere. Thanks to everybody on Twitter for tweeting in about World of Tanks, giving us some info to share with everybody else. You guys are awesome. So we will be back with Sky versus Paladin in Warcraft 3. Don't go anywhere, guys. This is WCG.